Many people ask me the real secret to preserving their hard-earned wealth during a currency reset. I tell them the boring truth that central banks are already playing the game while you are still reading the headlines. Nobody wants to hear that because everyone wants to believe their paper money will retain its value forever. Let us sit down and talk about the brutal math of what happens when the architects of the financial system start dumping their own creation. Goldman Sachs recently dropped a report that should have been on every single front page in the world. They found out that central banks are buying significantly more gold than they are reporting to the public. There is a massive discrepancy between the vaults draining in London and the official export data provided to the world. It is like looking at a bank account where the balance is dropping every single day, but the statement says nothing has left. The math is simple, but the implications are absolutely terrifying for anyone holding nothing but fiat currency. We are talking about a 70% increase in unaccounted gold accumulation over the last 10 months. That is not a rounding error. That is a massive systemic pivot away from the dollar-dominated status quo. The way they are doing it is a loophole. That sounds like something out of a spy novel. They have a custodian buy the gold, they claim it as a reserve asset, and then they export it in a way that avoids all the official reporting requirements. This is the ultimate move of a sovereign nation that knows the dollar is losing its credibility as a safe haven. If you think this is just a minor adjustment to their portfolio, you are not paying attention to the real game. When the United States froze and seized Russia's assets in 2022, it sent a shockwave through every capital city on Earth. Every nation realized that their dollar-denominated savings could be turned into a weapon against them with a single button press. That is why they are rushing to gold, because gold has zero counterparty risk. You do not have to ask for permission to hold it. You do not have to worry about a government shutting off your access. If you hold it, you own it. That is the only rule that matters when the geopolitical winds start shifting toward total collapse. China has been the most aggressive player in this shadow game for years. They spent over a year not reporting a single gram of gold to the International Monetary Fund. Then they had a massive jump in 2023 and another one in 2024. Now they are supposedly stopping their purchases. But the data in the London vault says something completely different. They are building an entire ecosystem through the Shanghai Gold Exchange to settle trade in physical gold instead of dollars. They have a network of vaults stretching across Asia and into Saudi Arabia designed to bypass Western financial institutions. This is the birth of a parallel monetary system. It is not going to happen on the news in a single day. It is happening right now in the background, while you are distracted by social media arguments. The BRICS nations got smarter after being told they would never break the dollar. They stopped talking about it and they started doing it. They are buying gold in secret because they do not want to trigger a panic until they have enough to survive the transition. Any purchase of gold on this scale is a literal vote of no confidence in the debt cycle we are living through. The United States needs the world to buy its treasury debt to keep the printing press running. But if your best allies are ditching your currency for a shiny metal, the machine is eventually going to run out of fuel. The math of our national debt is a runaway train. We are printing money to pay the interest on the money we already printed. And the central banks see this, and they are doing the only logical thing possible. They are getting out of the paper trap. If you are still sitting on all your wealth in a bank account that is losing value to inflation, you are effectively paying a tax for being on the wrong side of this reset. Think about the number of hours of your life you traded to earn that money. If you work for 40 hours a week and you get paid in a currency that is being systematically devalued, you are literally giving away slices of your lifespan to the government for free. Every time they devalue the currency, they are stealing your time. That is the real secret of the financial elite. They do not value money. They value the things that cannot be printed. They value the things that have survived every single civilization collapse in history, and that is gold. It has been the anchor of wealth for 5,000 years for a reason. It does not care about election cycles. It does not care about central bank speeches. It does not care about the latest stock market trend. It is just a store of value that preserves your purchasing power across the centuries. People tell me that gold does not earn a yield. They say I should put my money in a high-interest account instead. But what is the point of a 5% yield if your principal loses 10% of its value to real inflation every year? You are running on a treadmill that is tilted downward and you think you are making progress. You are not. You are just getting tired. The central banks are not buying gold because they want to get rich on a quick price move. They are buying it because they want to survive. They are building a foundation of hard assets to protect their nation from the coming monetary chaos. You should be treating your personal wealth with the same level of seriousness. You should be your own central bank. You should be diversifying your life savings into things that exist outside the digital ledger. When the ledger stops working, when the digital money disappears from your screen, what will you have left in your hands? The answer should not be empty paper. It should be real physical assets that have held their value since the days of ancient kings. The gold market is signaling that the era of easy money is coming to an end. We are entering a phase where the only thing that matters is who owns the real stuff. The people who hold the gold will have a seat at the table when the new rules are written. The people who hold only paper will be the ones paying the bill. You have a choice every single day. You can follow the crowd into the bubble, or you can follow the central banks into the safety of the vault. It is a boring choice. It is an antisocial choice. It is a choice that makes you look crazy at dinner parties, but it is the only choice that ensures you are not wiped out when the system finally pivots. Stop worrying about the day-to-day price fluctuations. The price is just noise. The real signal is the massive, sustained, under-the-radar accumulation of physical bullion by the most powerful entities on Earth. They are not guessing, they are preparing. You should be doing exactly the same. Review your assets, review your debt, and move your wealth into things that have no counterparty risk. That is how you survive. That is how you win in the long run. Everything else is just a distraction meant to keep you poor. Focus on the hard assets. Focus on the reality of the math. Think about the structure of a global economy. It is a house of cards built on the assumption that everyone will keep playing by the same rules. But when the largest players start changing the game behind your back, you better be sure you are not left standing in the cold. I remember a story about a man who saved his entire life in a local currency that collapsed overnight. He thought he was being smart by keeping everything in the government bonds. He believed the promises of stability and economic growth. But overnight, the government decided to revalue the currency to save its own skin. He lost 90% of his purchasing power in 24 hours. That is not a freak accident. That is the history of fiat currency in every single nation that has ever existed. Why do we think we are special? Why do we think our current debt load will be magically solved without consequences? It will not be. The math is inescapable. The printing press is running hot, and the only limit is the total loss of confidence. When that confidence breaks, and it will break, the flight to quality will be violent and unpredictable. Everyone will try to get into gold at the same time. And the price will not just move, it will jump to a new reality. You do not want to be the one who waits for the news to tell you it is time to buy. By then, the premiums will be so high you cannot afford to protect yourself. Do you see the pattern here every time there is a major global stress? Gold moves to the center of the stage. It is the ultimate exit door for anyone who wants to preserve their wealth. Central banks know this. They are not just buying gold because they like shiny things. They are buying gold because they are terrified of what happens when the dollar machine breaks down. They are creating a hedge against their own failure. And you should be doing the same for your own household. Stop waiting for the permission of the media. Stop waiting for the green light from your financial advisor who is incentivized to keep you in the paper system. Look at the numbers. Look at the history. Look at the reality. When the central banks speak, they tell you one thing, but when they act, they tell you the truth. Their actions are loud and clear. They are moving into gold. They are getting out of the dollar trap. They are securing their future with the only asset that has never gone to zero. If you follow them, you will be fine. If you ignore them, you are playing a game you cannot win. I see so many people distracted by crypto or hype stocks. They want the easy path. They want the miracle trade that makes them rich while they sleep. But wealth is not built on miracles. Wealth is built on consistency and patience, and the ownership of real things, real assets, real value, real physical wealth that stays with you, even when the internet goes dark. That is the foundation. That is the only way to build generational security. Do not let the complexity of the global system overwhelm you. Break it down to the simplest possible math. Would you rather hold a piece of paper that someone can print for free, or would you rather hold a physical metal that has been prized for 5 millennia? The choice seems obvious to me. It should be obvious to you too. Stop complicating your life with fancy financial products. Go back to basics. Go back to the assets that actually matter. Protect yourself, protect your family, and stay away from the crumbling ruins of the fiat system. It is time to wake up and see the world as it really is. The shadow accumulation of gold is the biggest story of our time. Do not be the last one to realize the truth. Be the one who takes action. Be the one who secures their own future. Stay boring. Stay patient. Peace.